This is the Bush 32 that I worked on only last week, maybe the week before. It was the power board that I'd started working on. It had gone bang, and then suddenly realised that there were too many components that had gone on the power supply, and the power supply was less than a fiver. So I just stuck another power supply in it. I'd got plenty of them. And then I went to donate the TV, and I switched it on for the young lady. And there's a line on it. A blooming line. You might be able to see it here. So it's a line which goes all the way up. So I thought, oh, well, that's no good for the lady. Sorry about that. Apologise. And then I noticed that down the road, and just give me a second. Somebody was giving away exactly the same TV. So that's the one with the line. This is exactly the same TV. With no line. But it has a backlight fault. That's as far as it goes. And then you can see there's a picture there. Or there was. There it is. So I can either just swap the screen over. Well, the truth is, just that one line I can use here for a little monitor. I'm in the market for a little 32-inch monitor, and all the TVs I use for monitors in here have got an issue of some kind. But I thought, I'll stick a new set of backlights in this. That's not going to be a problem. But what I thought I'd do is just see if I can get rid of that line. Normally you can't, but I suddenly thought I'll spend 10 minutes, take the back off, and see. So I do all the usual tricks with this, just having a look at the tabs, looking at the COFs, just checking some of the connections and just see if the line goes away. But I can't get the line to even flicker. It's just stuck there and it's on no matter what I do. I don't know what caused it to come on, but whatever caused it to come on, I can't get rid of it. Most of the times you can't, but I would have thought I could have, even brought another line on. But no matter what I do playing with this, nothing changes. So I'm going to put this TV back together again, and I'll just use it as a monitor. I've got a little studio in the other corner we use for the radio station that we do some live shows at the weekend. And I'm in the need of a little 32-inch monitor just for the cart wall, so I'm going to use it for that. So I've just installed it to be one of my little side monitors for my little radio studio, and this is my cart wall of jingles. You can still see the line is there, but it's not noticeable, and you won't notice it on the radio, so it just gives me a chance to play my little jingles here, and I've got a little side monitor, so I'm not going to throw it away. I'll just keep it as it is and leave it there. So let's have a look at that other 32, which I think has got a backlight issue. I'm a bit reticent to stick a brand new set of backlights in, but we'll get it going somehow, by hook or by crook, and usually by crook, I think, on these now, because they ain't got much value. Anyway, let's have a look at the second one. I don't think there's a line on this one. I think this is a backlight issue because it comes on for just a second and then it disappears. As I mentioned, there's no real value in these televisions anymore, so I'm not going to stick a brand new set of backlights in. This is something I won't sell on. I'll probably give it away or just keep it for a spare monitor. So the first thing I'm going to do here is just connect it all back up again, because the backlights are coming on for a second, and it may indicate to me which backlight has failed, and that's just the path I'm going down. The old-fashioned repair from a decade ago when you just took the faulty one out and put a new one in. That's all I'm going to do with this one. But we'll just see first. I want to find out where the issue is. So I'm plugging it in and I'm just having a look to see what comes on and what doesn't. Right, so the TV is in its on stage. There was just a little flicker and now they've gone off. So I've got some shorting probes here and I'm just going to bypass this bottom strip to see if the top strip comes on, and it doesn't. Let's see if I can bypass the top strip and see if the bottom strip comes on. And it doesn't. Don't know if you saw it on camera when it flashed. It flashed very quickly. It looks like one LED. I'm just going to do this bottom one again. It looks like one LED at the top. Is not as bright as the others, so I might try and bypass that one. But I think what's happening at the moment is the power supply realizes there's a fault and the LED driver is shutting everything down. So this won't work at the moment until I'm going to plug in the standby light so I can see it. Let me plug in the standby light. I don't think the problem's in here. I think it's just a shorted LED. My money is on the top one. So let me get a standby light so I can tell when the TV is on and not. And I can switch it on and off without touching any of these strips. I can do that with a remote control. And then I can try bypassing. And then hopefully the LED circuit won't go into shutdown mode. I think that's the way forward. I'm still convinced that this one here is faulty, so let me just do a bypass of that one while the TV's on its on state to see if they come on. I don't think it's going to, because I think the TV is in a shutdown state at the moment, or the LEDs are, because it knows there's an overcurrent somewhere, so that's not going to do it. The other thing I want to do before I go searching for the LED standby board is just do a continuity test, because on some of these Vestel, dirty contacts can cause issues, but everything seems to be connecting okay. One final test with the LED tester. My LED tester will just give voltage. It won't read the current, and I think one of these strips is high on current because of a faulty LED. But the bottom strip seems to be fine. I'm getting 31 volts. This one's building up, 26, 29, 30. You see 31 volts, but I don't think it's a voltage issue. I think it's a current issue, if I'm being honest. Just see if I can light them all up. I've got an very old LED tester. It doesn't give me a current reading. The newer ones do. So if you're investing in one, do find one that does a current reading. It will help you. But at the moment, it's a bit of guesswork, even though all of those are lighting up and they look good. I guarantee that one of them isn't, and I bet you it is that top one, top middle, that seems to... It looks fine here. It looks great here, but when I plug it back into the power supply, it doesn't look as bright as the rest. Right, there it is. This is the standby light, so I'm going to plug it in so I will know when the TV's in standby and when it's on. Because if it's on, it'll go into shutdown mode, or at least the LED driver will, and then I won't be able to bypass anything. So I'm going to do the short first and then turn the TV on, if that makes sense. That's my plan. So let me just get my shorting probes. Let me just plug this standby light board in somewhere we can see it. I'll just stick it here. Hopefully, I've not got the best camera angle on this, but I think we'll see. Yeah, we can see it there. So we're now in standby. With the remote control, they come on briefly and go off. And that's, I think we actually see the point where the where the LED driver shuts them down. It shuts them down pretty quickly within seconds. So I'm going to do this again. Let me just switch it to standby now. Wait for the light to go. Right. So I'm going to bypass the top set of lights just to see if the bottom set are working fine. So if I just hold this there, that shorts them out. Let me switch it on and see if the bottom set comes on and stays on. And it looks like they are doing. The LED driver's not going into a standby state, but I'm sure if I remove these probes, we'll go into a standby. So it is that top strip. It definitely is that top strip. And I'm now going to challenge that. Let's just see if it is that one LED that's closing this down. Let me switch it on and see if the backlights come on and stay on, apart from this one that I'm bridging here. And it does. I'm going to remove the probes and see if it goes off. It does. Goes into its emergency state. Right, okay. So we know that it is just that LED. It's a long way round of doing the test, but we know that it is. I'm just going to solder a new LED in here, and that'll do. I should have plenty of these LEDs somewhere, so I'm just going to flip off the lens, and then with me snips, I'm going to snip out the LED. It's always the best way to do it. There's going to be a few fragments left, and with the few fragments that are left, I'll get out the trusty soldering iron just to clean it up and to remove any of the fragments of the LED. And it cleans up the contacts as well. So that's almost ready. I've got some LEDs here. I've got reels of these. These are the 3 volt 1 watt ones, which are exactly the same as what's in the machine. So I'm just going to take one out of this packet and stick it in. I'm just going to stick a bit of flux on. It does help the LED go into the exact same place. I wouldn't use flux if I didn't need it for the LED, but I want the LED to go in exactly the same place, otherwise there'll be a little shadow. And we don't want any shadows. What do we used to call them? Crests, moon crests, something like that. Because if you just put in the LED, if you just put it off by, you know, 1/4 of a mil, it will cause a shadow. You have to be precise, and the flux will get the new LED to solder into place in exactly the right place where I need it. So let's solder it in. Right, finishing touches. It doesn't take long, just a bit of solder either side, and the flux helps it goes into place. Obviously, while working on it, I've disconnected it from the power supply. Disconnected the LEDs from the power supply. So let's plug it back in. Let's get the remote control. Let's turn the TV on, and hopefully the backlights are going to come up and stay up this time. They are. That one that I've soldered in looks a bit different because we haven't put the lens back on yet. So that's going to be my next job. Just glue the lens in and leave it to dry for a bit. I use some of this B7000. It's a bit of a large tub that I've got there. I have ordered half a dozen of the smaller ones, which is much better to get the glue on the LED lens, but it's okay in this case. Just going to let it set. And then come back an hour later when the sun's come out, as you can possibly tell. But it's firmly in place now, and I just want to make sure, switch it back on, make sure A, they stay on, and B, that lens is lined up perfectly. And it is. No shadows, no moon crests, no little reflections. So I'll just turn this off and we'll reassemble. TV is back together as it should be now. Just got no screws in the back at the moment. I'm just going to plug the Ethernet cable in, switch it to YouTube, and put it on test for a bit. And I'll leave it to run like this. It's a studio light you can see glowing on the right-hand side there, but it all looks good. It's fine, and I'm sure it'll serve me. I don't think I'll be doing much for this TV. I'll just use it as a standby monitor, really. But at least it's up and running again, and this one hasn't got a line. Hooray! Thank you very much for watching.